What are some guy secrets that would surprise us girls if we knew? If you ask us what we're thinking about and we say nothing, we really are thinking about nothing. And this fascinates me. I wish I could literally think about nothing. My husband says it's not thinking about nothing but the absence of thought. My mind was blown. I freaking wish. Guys are really good at compartmentalizing things. George Carlin had a really good stand-up about it, comparing women's to men's brains. Basically, women's brains are a ball of wire where everything is intertwined and always connecting to something else, while guys can strategically think of the important things independently. When the important stuff is done, we can just be. Well, sometimes it's just so goddamn weird it'd take an hour to explain how our brains got there. And we're reasonably sure you'd jump out of moving car to get away about 1/3 through the explanation. My buddy was in boot camp and his sergeant ordered him to say what he was thinking after telling him nothing, and he said, "Blue stop signs," and it was apparently a mental flashbang to the sergeant. It really be like that though. The most slapdash weird thoughts. I have ADD, I absolutely live for crazy weird trains of thought. I once went from a conversation about fruit salad to talking about parrots, and we're still not fully sure how we got from point A to B. I wonder if that's more of a ND versus NT thing than a man versus woman thing. My husband is ND like me, and he always has to have sound on, like music or the TV, to distract him from his racing thoughts. I'm a dude, but I'm rarely thinking about nothing. I might be thinking about weird stuff, like, does Superman have to adjust his junk when flying, or do the Apollo astronauts ever stop and think, wow, my poop is on the moon? But it's rarely nothing. I once asked my partner what he thinks about when he's quiet. He said nothing. Still impresses and confuses me almost 9 years later. Most of the time that isn't true, but the thing we are thinking about is so far down a rabbit hole. It would be too hard to explain how I got there. Right, it's mostly unfocused free association, or just taking in the moment. We never grow up, we only pretend to. I don't think this is a secret. I think they know this about us. Yeah, we do know that. Yes, I know a lot of guys that aren't even pretending. The ones that are pretending aren't doing a convincing job. I do a good job pretending until I get sick. Then I'm 9 all over again. Every man reverts during sickness, like a time warp. Do you appreciate our effort? I would rather a guy just behaves as he sincerely is. If he tries to behave like an adult but can't keep up the ruse, I get false hope that he might be a good partner. Asked my 10-year-old what he wanted for his birthday and he said plastic swords. I was like, really? And just blank stared at me and said, yeah, I want 3 swords to fight you and brother. I was like, fuck yeah, that's gonna be lit, dude. I'm 38. I asked for and got the Gatling gun Nerf gun for my birthday. I turned 40 and have 4 children. Exactly. Deep down I am still a kid. I hate being an adult every day. That just means you were lucky enough to have a nice childhood. Or their life is just shit currently. They say if you get to 50 and haven't grown up, you don't have to. Sometimes I can get a boner over nothing sexual. Like I could be reading an article about gardening and notice I'm hard. This kind of thing was personally a bigger problem in middle and high school. The amount of times I hoped nobody saw my giant boner in class was ridiculous. Lucky you, all I have is a little boner. /o/. Sat in the front row in 8th grade, and many times my female teacher would look over at me and then quickly turn away. Once she was calling kids to come up to the blackboard. She was about to call on me and thankfully changed her mind. Wish I knew where she was now so I could thank her for her kindness and consideration. You're welcome. I'm a middle school teacher with 3 brothers. I suspect she had at least one too. We had a kid in junior high get a boner in art class. Everyone noticed. Everyone shouted, "John Carlo has a boner," and laughed. He chuckled too but was beet red. God. I hope he's alright. I'm sure he thinks of that often and wonders if we all remember. We do. We remember, but I'm sorry for laughing. He joined the military and is now a fitness instructor at a mid-tier gym. Maybe you just like gardening way more than you realize. He's a hoe. A dirty hoe. He likes to get plowed. I awoke from a daze and stood up, not realizing that the little guy was up as well. This woman saw, and when I noticed I simply said, "This happened at my front desk job at a high-end fitness club. Sorry." At least if crossing the street and you trip at the pavement your boner will save you and help break the fall. You know, acting as the third leg. Jesus, I'd rather just land on my face. Bro, this pisses me off. There's no hot women around. Leave me alone, boner. We need foreplay too. The fact that it takes us a few to go from whatever we were doing to raging boner when you give us a kiss out of the blue does not mean we're cheating on you or you got fat. It means you were misled about men. One time I didn't get hard fast enough and this girl asked me if I was gay. Instantly killed all attraction I had for her from that point on. Yes, but you look kind of mannish, so I'll manage. Laughing so hard at that, rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing. I find this is especially true the older I get. We are starved for compliments. I'm an older white dude. 14 years ago, a wonderful African American woman said I had beautiful eyes. I will never forget it. This weekend my wife was wearing a particularly interesting pair of shoes. She got like 3 or 4 compliments on them. At one point I said to her, "You've gotten more compliments on your shoes this afternoon than I've gotten on my shoes in my entire life." She said, "What are you talking about? It's only been a few times." I said, "Yup, this is a big one." I assume it was common knowledge though. I still have one from 32 years ago. Mowing in HS. A hill that was more cliff. Came out to my car with a note. "You're so intense." No idea who left it. I can't upvote this enough. It's gotten to the point where when I actually do get a compliment, I assume it's really a veiled insult. "You look nice today." So you're saying I look terrible every other day? My husband told 2 of his guy friends that they were looking good last time we went out. When we came home he asked me if it was weird, and said that he feels like guys don't get compliments often and especially not from other guys, so he was hoping the fact that another guy said that would help them really believe it. 20-something years ago a random woman on the street complimented me, "You look good," while passing by me. I still remember this. It was the only compliment I've ever received. My work uniform used to include a bow tie, and about twice a month on my way in I'd get complimented by an old lady I didn't know on the street telling me how handsome I looked. I miss that. One evening, early on in our relationship when we had been dating more than 6 months, but less than a year, my wife and I were watching the sunset on a beach and sharing a glass of wine. She casually said something to the effect of, "You're really handsome and a really good guy. I'm super thankful for all the effort you put into being an excellent boyfriend and I'm lucky to be dating you." For whatever reason it hit me like a freight train and totally knocked the wind out of me and I started to cry more or less uncontrollably. I had never in my life had a complete like that. I totally could not handle it. She was caught off guard and had no idea that most men go their entire lives beaver hearing anything like that from anyone, let alone a woman they are romantically involved with. Sometimes when we stare off into space, and you ask, "What are you thinking about?" and we just say, "Nothing," we really mean it. And there is no deeper meaning behind it. I literally talked about how I was jealous that men can do this on Reddit and got dragged. I'm jealous though. No amount of meditation will allow me to just think of nothing. We literally don't care if you're wearing makeup, that you get your hair did, your nails did, etc. We don't want you to do Botox, fillers, implants. Don't fall apart, but just be you as you are. That's plenty for us. I think I speak for about 90% of men. Like, it's nice to see my wife dolled up for an event, but most of the time, I think she's the most beautiful when she's kind of tired and without any makeup. She doesn't always believe me. My husband often says he prefers me with no makeup. I've come to realize he means it, and I tend to agree. Yep, generally prefer my wife wearing undies, one of my t-shirts and loose hair. Don't get me wrong, the other version, with makeup, pretty clothing etc., is nice too. But the, "I am yours" version and "I am unashamed." Yeah. I really like that one. Sometimes we just want to cuddle and not anything else. This is how I met my now wife. I asked her to cuddle and she said yes. Your first moment with your wife was to ask her to cuddle? That's a heck of a opening line. Yep, big risk, big reward. When we feel useless to help, it affects us deeper than just the obvious. It's how we're wired. We are fixers, doers. And that is how we show our love for our so. It's not always about sex, and that may be the intimacy we can show. If we take a moment to repair something or handle a chore you hate without any explanation or reason, it's because we love you and feel you don't like doing it. So we will and not complain. This is my uncle. He's not good with words or showing affection in the way his wife would like. He'll show he cares through fixing stuff. Always trying to be useful. Always asking if my mom or me if we need something to be looked at. You'd mention something that might need fixing or a little project you might want to do but don't know how to get started, and maybe weeks or months later he'll show up with tools. He'll remember stuff you already forgot yourself. So when his wife talks bad about him being emotionally unavailable and not doing enough to make her feel seen, I get a little mad. He built horse stables for you because you like horses. He takes care of the horses with you, every day getting up early. He's in debt now because of the house you guys bought and that he's been working on for years and all the other stuff. You've got dogs because you're a dog person. He never had any pets before. Sometimes we want to be taken on a date. At 33, I am yet to be asked out on a date. I have never received flowers, candy, stuffed animals, or any cutesy things that you see guys giving girls just because. And I've accepted I never will. I have mentioned the flowers thing to multiple women in my life. My GF even made it a point to say that she will get me some for my birthday that year, as V-Day had passed. That was 3 years ago. Don't get me wrong, she's a hell of a woman and has surprised me with sports games, concerts, events, etc. But the small reminders of affection that I mentioned above are absent from my life. Sometimes when we pee it comes out in 2 streams. The worst is when it goes sideways for some reason. I have never met or even heard of a guy who liked micro-braided eyebrows. Or fake lips. Ugh. Those deployed airbags are the worst. Micro-bladed, perhaps? What? You don't French braid your eyebrows? Micro-braided sounds like eyebrows with tiny little cornrows in them. I've never met a man who can identify them. If you're just venting, please say you're just venting. Otherwise we jump into I shall avenge you, my queen mode. Do you want me to help solve a problem or just listen? Then I can adjust my listening mode accordingly. Guys will acclaim a girl they're interested in and tell other guys to back off while they try to court this claimed girl. That guy friend that always wants to hang out may be keeping you away from other guys you are interested in. We don't want to talk for 30 minutes when we get home from work. We just want to watch a baseball game and have a beer. We'll keep the same haircut/style for 15 plus years because someone told us it looked good. We're not okay, even if we say we are. We have a million things on our minds and we're trying to shut them out and be present. The tiniest little compliment means the world to us. Generally, we suppress emotion to not appear weak. That's not a secret. The irony is most guys don't suppress emotion. They just convert it all to anger and aggression. Society has done a grave disservice to men. We love the tight pants women wear at the gym. Keep it up, ladies. If women could only get a glimpse of our testosterone-addled vision, they would never feel insecure again. As a woman, this made my day. We don't share our deepest fears and struggles with women because they'll just use it against us. I've seen it way too many times. I'd rather tell my guy friends if I have a problem. Being the gender that's supposed to be more empathetic doesn't mean shit if you can't trust them because then it's just setting you up for more manipulation. A guy will still love to play video games even at 60 if he grew up loving video games. Women seem to expect guys to outgrow playing video games. Please do away with such mentality. If a guy stops playing video games, it is mostly because of responsibilities, not dislike. We want to feel needed. We also need to feel wanted. We hide a lot of pain and struggles, more than women will ever realize. We know that women go through a lot too. Women seem to think that only they struggle. Yes, we will look if you show cleavage. That includes your friends. A natural woman is infinite times more attractive than a woman with fake boobs, lips, eyebrows. Those 9-inch nails? Biggest turn off. Yes, we can think about nothing. No one gives a shit if you wear the same dress twice. Kissing can be as much fun as sex, even more so, if both parties know what they're doing. A good makeout session can take you to amazing places even if everything stays buttoned and zipped. At 45 plus years old, I want sex all the time, even if it hurts me. I have a bad back, left shoulder and neck and I want it anyway. I think it would surprise women how easy it is to make us happy. For example, for my birthday this year, my wife asked me what I wanted. I said, wear my favorite lingerie, fuck me up and make me dinner and binge watch TV. She was shocked. I said that her and I both work lots of hours at the hospital. I just want to relax. We're barely holding it together. Life is not easier because we're men. We're scared of failure and loss. Society makes us feel like we can never show weakness. We men say what we mean and mean what we say. We don't do hidden messages or have a way of saying things. That's what women do. We also prefer it when you say what you want. We don't think you're being bitchy or bossy for doing so. Again, that's a woman thing. Jesus, I hate when my wife does this shit. I can't even count how many times she didn't want to do something. I've said, just say no thanks. She claims you can't say no because it's rude. Then stresses about whatever it is for weeks. Then drags me into the stress. If we ask you, what's wrong, baby? We are actually looking for an answer, not an emotional riddle. I'm 51 years old and I've raised 4 kids. I'm scared to death that someone is going to find out that I have no idea what I'm doing. At 33, I am yet to be asked out on a date. I have never received flowers, candy, stuffed animals, or any cutesy things that you see guys giving girls just because. And I've accepted I never will. I have mentioned the flowers thing to multiple women in my life. My GF even made it a point to say that she will get me some for my birthday that year, as V-Day had passed. That was 3 years ago. Don't get me wrong, she's a hell of a woman and has surprised me with sports games, concerts, events, etc. But the small reminders of affection that I mentioned above are absent from my life. We've all tried to go down on ourselves. When we get an itch on our balls, we pinch and twist the skin to scratch them. My ex asked if she could do this for me once since she was so fascinated by it. When I said absolutely not, she got annoyed with me. Anyone who's ever been out in public or around men at all ever knows this. Men are pathologically bad at discretion. If you initiate intimacy even half as much as we do, we would be forever grateful. Guys rarely receive thoughtful compliments. We enjoy cunnilingus. We hate the fact that you hate when we are happy. Women don't hate when you're happy. Sometimes we sit on our balls. Here's a funny story, at least to me. I'll always remember a few years ago. I got out of the hospital after 5 weeks being treated for a new leukemia diagnosis. During that time I lost like 60 to 70 pounds and a lot of muscle mass in my legs from being bedridden and barely eating because the hospital food was disgusting. After being discharged, I had to stay with my brother and his family while I was in treatment/recovery. To improve my mood the day after discharge, my brother took me out to eat at his favorite diner by him. We ate, had a good time, and then went back to the car. Due to my legs being significantly weaker, I kinda looked like a newborn gazelle at times, and as I tried to get into the car I stumbled in and ended up sitting on my balls and let out an appropriately loud groan of pain. My brother immediately panicked, thinking I really hurt myself from being frail, and said, "Brother, hey, are you okay? Do you need my help? What can I do? Don't move, I'll help you." Me, no, dude. I'm fine. I just sat on my damn balls. We both laughed pretty hard, and it's just a fun memory to me now. I wouldn't call it a secret, but guys typically don't gossip the way that women do. Like someone will announce their girl is pregnant and they're gonna have a kid, and the most you'll get is something like, "Damn, that's crazy." Also not a secret, but Eve noticed that the more dickish and insulting we are to each other, the closer friends we are. Straight up trashing one another right to their face in front of everyone while everyone laughs. Only close friends will tolerate that shit because they know it's just pulling the piss. If you see dudes being absolute assholes to each other, there's a good chance they're simply best friends. Yup, at least in my friend group and family, if we're not fucking with you at least once, then there's a problem. It's also important to read people though. Some days just aren't good days for it. My wife struggles to understand this. There is a high percentage of guys who don't wash their hands after going to the bathroom. Women too. Our weenie can become an E. What? Eeny meeny weeny mo, where'd my eeny weeny go? We consider our cars to be more than simple possessions. I mean, an expensive one, I guess. Car guys aren't a secret though. Just don't treat your car better than your girl and you'll be fine. Man here, definitely not true of all of us. They really do have the one that got away on their mind. We really can be thinking about nothing. Men cry, you just don't see us. It's like a fugazi. Fairy dust, the end. We keep at very least a general idea of when your periods happen, so we can be more supportive to you during that time. My man gives me back rubs and makes up my hot water bottle and makes sure to get extra chocolate. It's very sweet. Many men have overcome the conditioning that tells them to bottle up their feelings, only to have their insecurities and vulnerabilities weaponized against them. Please don't do that to anyone. If you want a man to share the deep current, don't shame him for doing so. We're very complacent in a relationship. If you don't express that something is wrong very clearly, we'll just keep going about our business thinking everything is just fine. We find vocal fry and voices that sound like a cartoon mouse extremely annoying. Try sounding like Kathleen Turner in Body Heat. Our Tinder is the Sahara Desert. A lot of the guys at the gym are listening to girly music in their headphones. Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Jennifer Lopez, Dua Lipa. Whether music, or a color, or clothes, or jewelry, or anything else, is manly/girly is purely a cultural construct with no basis in biology or reality. It's all nonsense that we tell each other and perpetuate by telling our kids. Miley Cyrus.
Oh.
The Way. Kylie Minogue. So maybe it's just music? Nah. Within Temptation and Nightwish all the way. Had a friend who listened to heavy metal, and he got into running. One of his biggest fears was that he'd get hit by a car and people would find out he's listening to Footloose and Dirty Dancing songs on his runs. Sometimes I let some Olivia Rodrigo slip into the playlist too. Don't forget Hunter/X. I'm a Halsey guy myself. As a straight dude, you would have to try clawing Chapel Roan out of my playlists. Sorry, the woman makes absolute bops. Dua Lipa is so hot though. Perry and Swift are on my workout list. Kesha is my go-to. Why should we say it then? It is a guy thing. I really hate when women's, sorry to generalize, but tends to be true, stories take so long to finish. I'll be polite, but I've probably tuned out by the time you reached the end. Can you just get to the interesting bit? I'm a woman and I have to say women talk a lot. I don't talk constantly like most women, and my stories are to the point, and I don't throw useless information in there. I'm drained listening to them. I don't know how their spouses handle it. Some of them never shut up. Let's see. We feel every emotion you do, but we aren't really allowed to show them. We're just as scared to walk down the street at night, but we don't show. Not all of us want sex all the time. Men and women have so much in common that if we sat down at a table and talked without gender norms or expectations and just openly and honestly talked, you would see so many similarities neither of us would believe one another. Not all of us want sex all the time. Yeah, there's that brief window right after we just had sex. 4 is conversation I want to take part in. The right places on the internet are basically number 4. And yes, men and women are very much the same. We are all individuals, but our experiences in society are different, which shapes our perspectives and the things we tend to care about. Sometimes, we just need a hug. Not all are same, and we don't care what feminists talk about us even if it's good or bad. Both ways life still gotta be the same. I just miss being a kid. I give my fiancé a big ol' hug every day, and he does after work. I always do this and tell him I love him cause you never know. It could be your last, so I am very grateful and never take it for granted. I remember reading many years ago that laughing at a man's jokes helps him to like you more. Something like that. I appreciate it when someone laughs at my jokes. I also remember hearing that 30% of people don't have a sense of humor except for slapstick such as slipping on ice. I've always felt bad for dudes and their public boners. This one will throw you, but what we say is what we mean. No hidden code or hints, we are simple creatures. On the other side, I have to add to this too. I've posted once, but here's another thought. Sometimes you're wrong and you can apologize. Men aren't supposed to be the only ones to say, I'm sorry. But far too often we're expected to, even if we won, didn't start an argument, 2, proved our point, and 3, you said you don't want to argue but started it. It's emasculating to force us to make the first move, accepting that defeat even though we didn't actually lose anything. I can't count how many times I've said I'm sorry to my wife and not once been said that in return. Or first. Even her mother has said she's wrong, but she doesn't budge. I'm a Marine. We don't surrender. Somehow she's managed to make me lay down defenses and succumb. Answering your third-degree interrogation questions is exhausting. Y'all need to be okay with little to no details sometimes. I concur wholeheartedly. Literally every single man that you've ever met who isn't related or homosexual has thought about you sexually. Even if they're not attracted to you, at the very least thought about the fact that you're not their type after doing a split-second sexual assessment. Maybe they aren't attracted to you at all, but have still run through how a scenario could play out or what you look like with no clothes, etc., etc., etc. Most are probably going the other way with it though, and envisioning that you're probably into them too, even if it's delusional on our end. You make casual eye contact back when a strange guy is staring at you. He thinks it's because you want him. What in the holy red pill is this? If a man shows a passion, vulnerability, or other part of themselves and it's made fun of or looked at with disdain or uninterest, the man will never again show you that or any other part of themselves. If you want a hard man who resents you, that's how you get one. We are able to fully retract our genitals whenever we find ourselves in threatening situations, such as squatting over a pool of piranhas. We can tell immediately what that one male of friend's intentions are, but we stay quiet because showing jealousy/weakness/hurt would only drive you to them more. How much we jack it. We can get turned on involuntarily. We like swallowing your cum. So tasty. We can live and thrive without you.